Hi lovely yogi, welcome to Ethne Brian Yoga. Today's flow is going to be a really slow, delicious mixture of upper body kind of opening and stretching, and we'll come into a little bit of yin to end as well. So sit yourself up on a prop, a bolster, or pillows or some blocks if you have them. Meditation cushion is also great. We're just going to start in our easy pose, our Sukhasana. So resting your hands onto your lap, take a couple of big shoulder rolls all the way up, back and down. One way, up, back and down the other way. Nice and calm. Good. And then allow yourself to rest somewhere in stillness. Let's drop the chin down towards the chest, closing down the eyes or keep them open, just slightly softening if that feels better today. Start to tune into your breath. Start to just notice the inhale and the length of the exhale. And can we even those out? Maybe draw them out a tiny little bit as well. So as you simply just arrive into your seat, getting a sense of grounding through the sit bones, through the thighs, really let your lower legs kind of soften. And as we come to start the flow, I'd like you to inhale and create a little bit more length through the vertebrae of the back body. So as you inhale, sitting up a little bit taller, but exhale, staying really grounded, really kind of in your seat. And as we're slowing down the breath, just slowing down the body, slowing down the mind. Taking a moment to pause and to just have that simplicity of listening to your own breathing. Noticing how your breath feels today, whether it feels sticky or smooth, hot or cold. Good, we'll take 5 more just the same. On your 6th inhale, just gently start to drop your right ear down towards your right shoulder. And then anchor that left shoulder down and away. And there's no need to push or to pull, just having that slight drawing down and back action. Starting to open up our practice through the cervical spine, the top 7 vertebrae that make up our neck. It's where we carry a lot of our tension. If you feel okay here, please stay. If you want a little bit more, we're going to send the left arm out to the left side. You can either relax your fingers or flex your fingers back towards you. And that might increase the stretch ever so slightly. And just notice as we do these little add-ons whether the breath becomes stagnant, whether you have short, sharper inhales, or whether we can keep that really slow, really releasing kind of pranayama or breath body. Let's take 2 more here. And then slowly drift your way back into center. We'll peel the head up to the middle and take it over towards the left side. And there's no rushing needed. You can even open and reclose your eyes or just keep them kind of really gently open. And let the first few breaths just kind of settle you in this space. Know that if your toes become numb at any point, feel free to cross or change the cross of the legs, or even bring the soles of the feet to the earth and knees pointing up to the sky. Just taking this opportunity to find a little bit more depth, a little bit more release. When you feel ready, extending that right arm out towards the right side, and then potentially drawing the fingertips back towards you to increase that stretch. Get 2 more breaths here. And then release your hand back towards your knee, float your head back to center. We're going to take some half circles into the neck. So sending your right ear down to right shoulder, roll your chin forwards and over to the left side. And really, really gentle movements between these 2 spaces. Imagine you've sprayed some WD-40 in your neck joints. You're just trying to rub that in really calmly to kind of lubricate all of the muscles, all of the joints, all the soft tissue, tendons, ligaments, the bones themselves. And you'll notice as you do this, you might feel a little bit of tension. I feel it just in my right side, lower down in your back, and that's because all the tension in the fascia, the kind of cobweb-like material of the body, is stored in lots of different places. So we're just kind of opening up through the whole body, even though we're just predominantly opening up into our neck and throat right now. Lovely, let's pause into the center, dropping the chin into middle. Tongue pressing into the roof of the mouth. I'd like you to inhale up to neutral, and we'll keep the tongue pressing upwards. And then I almost want you to lift your head up and back, but without cranking your head backwards. We're not looking to throw the head backwards. As you inhale, you're going to breathe and sit a little bit taller. Tongue to the roof of the mouth, and then open up the chest and tilt the chin skywards. So there's a big difference from just letting the head drop back and inhaling to lengthen up and over. And then back to center. Now if it feels a little bit strong, you can always take the hands, interlace them behind the nape of the neck, and do the same thing. Inhale to open up the chest, and you've got that little support for the neck as well. And exhale back to center. We're going to take 3 more of those. Inhale to open. And release. Good, imagine drawing the shoulder blades together at the same time. Inhale to open. And release. Good, last one. Lovely jubbly. Let's come off of our bolsters or bricks or pillows. Just pop them over to one side because we will need them a little bit later. So we're going to take this opportunity to just give our legs and our knees a little bit of a stretch because we've been sat down for quite a while. So placing the hands behind you, let's flex the feet, drawing the toes up towards the knees, and we're going to windscreen wiper from side to side. Just taking a little bit of a loosening action into the hips, and hopefully you feel quite quite alive into the neck and the throat area now. I feel a little bit more awake after kind of breathing correctly and having lovely stretches. Oh. Good. And then come to find stillness. We're going to extend the legs forwards and take a really gentle passive forward fold or Paschimottanasana. So I'd like you to take your feet about hips distance apart. You're going to walk your hands just in between your legs and then calmly kind of stretch out, dropping the chin to chest and releasing through the back of your spine. And we'll take 10 really calming breaths here, and it doesn't matter if you're here or if you're a little bit further forwards, just have that invitation of really letting everything go in the upper body. We're all at different stages in our bodies. We all have different flexibility, different leg and arm and body lengths. So no comparisons. Just kind of feel your way into you as we open up through the back, and through the back of the legs and the back itself. You might even close down your eyes here. Halfway through. Good, final breath, and like a ragdoll, just rise all the way up to seated once again. Head lifting last, and take it really nice and slow. Ooh, good. Let's rebend the knees. We'll come into our reverse tabletop. So feet are going to be about hips distance apart, feet are going to be about hips distance apart, all toes facing forwards and all fingers facing forwards as well. Take a little bending into your elbows. We'll press down through the hands and feet, our hasta and padabandha, squeeze through the inner thighs and the buttocks, and inhale to lift your belly and hips up towards the ceiling. This is a really big stretch into the front of the pectorals, into the chest, and inviting a little bit of a almost awakening action into the posterior chain of the body or the back body. Take one more inhale. As you exhale, slowly start to release. Bum sits down first. Good. Cross the legs if that feels okay to do so, back into your easy pose. If not, you're going to keep your legs out. Ooh, nice and long. I'm going to sneeze. No, I'm not. Okay. No, I am. Nope, it's gone. Let's interlace the fingers. You're going to press the palms of the hands high to the sky and take a big breath in. As you exhale, reach the right arm forwards, twist the left arm back, and just spin open through the rib cage. Inhale back to center. And exhale, left arm forwards, right arm back. Once more each side. Inhale to reach high. Exhale to open. Inhale high. Good. And right, left arm forwards, right arm back. Lovely. Let's release the hands and take our reverse tabletop once again. So fingertips pointing down to toes. Bend the knees. Press down through the feet. As you inhale, lifting up the hips. Good. Lifting up the chest. And we want to double check that the feet aren't too close. So the knees aren't going over the ankles. That's not the point of this. We're not wanting to stretch our ankles out just yet. I want you to get a nice stable foundation, like we would our tabletop, but we're in a reverse one. Good, open up the chest, just one little, maybe crank higher. And then gently, gently, bum lands. Ooh, good, let's give a little roll of our wrists. So again, seated cross-legged, plant the feet down or extend the legs completely. Bring your hands into fists and just give them a little roll round and round because, yeah, that one can feel quite intense on the hands. We haven't done much to warm them up just yet. Good. When you're ready, find your way into your regular tabletop, your Bandasana, please, my lovelies. Stacking shoulders on the wrists, hips on top of the knees. Let's take a few cat-cows. Why not? They're everybody's favourite, right? As we inhale, we're going to draw the shoulder blades together, drop the belly and lift the chest and chin. As you exhale, take the complete opposite. Curl under from the tailbone, scoop the belly button to spine, and round through the upper back, dropping the chin into the chest. Inhale to open. Softly release our cow pose, Bandasana. And as you exhale, curl in, dome the upper back body, Marijaryasana, cat pose, like an angry cat. Twice more, inhale to open. Flowing with your breath. Exhale to round, just waking up the full central nervous system from the brain all the way down through the back. Last one, inhale to open. And exhale to round. Good, we're going to find our way into a puppy pose, Anahatasana. So keeping your hips stacked on top of your knees, this is the most important part. I want you to start to walk your hands forwards all the way until your forehead lands down to the floor. Now, if that does feel a little bit too intense onto your upper body and shoulders, it's quite a big stretch, you can always take your arms wide like the YMCA or soften your elbows ever so slightly. YMCA. If you're feeling a little bit more open into the upper thoracic spine, so that place between the shoulder blades, you can always look forwards and melt your chin and your chest down to the floor. Now, I'd only say to take this variation if you can still breathe. It's quite an intense one. So if you can't breathe, it's not worth it, I promise. Stick to listening to your body. The breath is key for our practice. We want the breath as the guide rather than the response. 2 more here. As you are ready, walk your hands back. Underneath the shoulders, finding our way back to tabletop. Forgot to say, if you need to, you can always place a towel or a blanket underneath your knees if you have knee sensitivity. Thread the needle, please. As we inhale, reach the right arm high. Spin the chest open and really breathe through the collarbones. Exhale is going to thread that right arm behind the left, come all the way down onto the shoulder, this side of the head. So we've got this big stretch into this outside edge of the right arm. If you want to take it a little bit further, you might extend that left arm forwards. You could reach the left arm high, or spin the hand and thread that left arm round into the back of the right hip bone or the lower back area. Remember, this is a slow flow. If you do want to take a little balance, you feel free to do that. If not, just kind of close the eyes. Let's have this big opening through the back of the right arm. If you have the bind, keep rolling that left shoulder up and away, really stabilizing through the upper body. Gorgeous. As we're ready, releasing variations, left hand down to the floor, right arm breathe it high. This time we're going to extend that right leg back and come into our supported Vashisthasana or side plank pose. Coming through a little flow. As you inhale, sweep the right arm up and over, hugging that arm to your ear, and exhale to open it up and back. Inhale to sweep forwards, getting into this full range of motion through the arm, and exhale to open once again. Lovely. Last time, inhale to breathe forwards. This time, as you sweep your arm back, we'll lift into our gate pose, Parigrasana, left arm lifting off of the floor, arms wide to a T. Good. Right hand travels down right leg as your left arm is going to breathe up and over. Good. So from here, I just want you to be mindful of your bum. Can you see if you're sticking your bum out backwards? So we can get a deeper stretch into this left hip flexor. I want you to almost send your left hip forwards. And again, keep breathing up and over into that big side stretch. You should feel a little bit more into the hip flexor, into the hips and into the side waist. Final breath. Cartwheel the hands forwards, tabletop is where we will meet. Good, thread the needle on the left side, inhale to sweep the left arm high. Spin the chest, I just had a lower back click as well, which is quite nice. As you exhale, thread it under, and completely natural if it happens by itself. It's just a little release of gas if it happened to you as well. Good, really relax that left hand. You can always take a brick underneath your ear if it feels a little bit too intense of a stretch. Inhale, sending that right arm forward, staying on the fingertips. Inhale to sweep the right arm high, or once again, spinning the hand, bending the elbow, and threading that right hand back into your left hip. No right or wrong. Some days it'll feel nice, some days it won't, so just have a little play here. See what takes your fancy, tickles your fancy. Good, relax the jaw and come back into that kind of a rhythmic breathing, almost like a soft variation of our Ujjayi. 2 more here, please. Lovely, release the right hand. Inhale, sweeping the left arm high as we do, extending that left arm behind, coming into our supported side plank. Inhale is going to reach the left arm up and over, and as you do, see if you can lift the rib cage that little bit higher. And exhale to sweep the arm back. Inhale to breathe forwards, really connecting our movement to breath here. Lean a little bit higher. And exhale takes it back. Good, last one. Inhale to breathe forwards. And exhale takes us to Parigrasana gate pose, lifting up into your T shape. Left hand down, left leg, right arm up and over. Good, remember to slightly squeeze your buttocks and press your hips forwards. The cat is a nightmare. She's now jumped in and behind the blinds. We'll leave her to it, at least she's quiet. Good, really opening up through this right side ribs. Take one more breath in. And your exhale is going to cartwheel your hands to the top of the mat. Find your way into a tabletop. Time for a child's pose. Take it very traditionally, toes touching, bum to heels, sinking the hips and reaching the arms out long. If you'd prefer, you could come into a supported child's pose, either sliding a bolster or a cushion in between your knees. Quite like to pop it underneath my bum. You're just going to sit here for maybe 5 or so breaths, taking a really gorgeous release. Two more breaths. And your final inhale is going to draw you up and out. Let's come into a downward facing dog. Again, pillows, bolsters, props over to one side. So once you've found your way into tabletop, tucking the toes under, take as much time as you need here in your dog. Let's start to pedal through the feet, warming up the ankles, stretching out through the back of the hamstrings. Make as many weird noises as you want to. Always encourage noises. Grounding down the heels. Softening your face. Take one more breath. Beautiful work, yogis. Slowly start to walk your feet up behind the back of the wrists. We'll meet in a ragdoll. Bending the knees, grab opposite hand, opposite elbow, and take a little sway from side to side. Tailbone is lifting you upwards. Arms, head, and neck are kind of drifting you downwards. As we just take this big extension. This big lengthening action and really releasing. Lovely, soften knees, release fingertips, bend and roll vertebrae by vertebrae all the way up to standing, and your head is going to lift last. Gorgeous. Let's turn sideways onto our mat. We're going to take it really slow, really chilled. Not many sun salutations or anything today. Just some lovely kind of stretches. Let's come into the hips. So turning your toes outwards, I want you to sink down into your goddess pose, your Uttanasana. Arms are going to go wide into your T shape and really spread the fingers wide. Oh, it looks like one arm is higher than the other. Oop. Let's see if we can take them parallel. Good. Take one more inch depth down into the knees. Really think about tucking the pelvis under once again, so we're not kind of, hard to see there, not sending the tailbone backwards. I want you to sink the hips forwards. So in a posterior tilt of your hips, falling all over the place. Take one more breath. Good, drop the hands into the knees. We're going to roll the right shoulder in, keep the arms straight, and then almost imagine pressing that knee out to the side. If you get any knee pain, just kind of ease off a tiny little bit there. We want to be opening up as much as we can into the hips. You might even come down to that left forearm. So it's a fairly passive stretch for the hips. Not got much kind of going on in terms of strength, but I think a passive stretch can feel nice every now and then. Good, let's change it over. Left hand to left knee. It's quite a nice stretch for the upper body and shoulders as well. I kind of feel it all through my rib cage. One more breath. Relax the fingers. Beautiful. Reach both hands down to the floor. We're going to send the toes forwards. And if you struggle a little bit to reach the floor, again, find your props, either your bolster, your cushion, or your bricks underneath your hands, and that'll give your arms a little bit more length. So we don't need to struggle. Props are there to support our practice. Good, let's take a twist. Right hand into the center of either your pillow, your blocks, or the floor. Inhale is going to breathe your left arm high. Spinning the chest and see if we can reach all the way up towards our left fingertips. Good, start to spin the hand, bend the elbow and thread that left hand behind the right hip. Notice if the knees feel like they're collapsing inwards. Can we switch on through the outer edge of the hips, all the muscles that support the hips, and really press down through the toes. One more inhale. And exhale, change that over, left hand down, right arm swooping. Linger here for just a little moment. You might even open up that arm. Oh, getting that big stretch. Good, spin the hand, bend the elbow, thread it behind into your hip. Breathing as much as we can and expanding into the chest. And release that forwards, right hand down to meet the left. From here, my darlings, we're going to come into our frog pose, our Bandasana. So stepping your feet in, come down into a toe stand. You're going to move your bolster or your pillows just off to one side, just for now, because you will need it once again, and find your way into a tabletop. Now, Froggy Pose is quite a big one for the knees, so you can double up your mat if you don't have a towel or a blanket close by. If not, you can stay just kind of with the knees as they are. In your tabletop, you're going to start to take the legs as kind of wide as you can. We want to double check from here that the hips are in line with the knees, and then the knees are directly in line with the ankles. We're on the inside edge of the foot, so where the big toe is, and the pinky toes are high to the sky. Good. So there's no need to force, there's no need to press or to bounce. This is almost going to be like an invitation for our yin. Stretching a little bit further into the joints. We definitely don't want to over force that. So you could take, oh, I don't know why I did that. You could take your bolster underneath your elbows to give you a little bit of padding. You could take bricks or cushions underneath there. Or if you feel quite comfortable in your frog pose, you might even come all the way down to the chest and make a little pillow with your hands. In frog pose, my darlings, we're going to be here for about 3 minutes. Now, if 3 minutes feels too much, please feel free to do less. You can always just come out and find a child's pose or find a forward fold, or just have a little seat, or even just skip forwards on the video, and that's a beautiful thing about YouTube. Good, so we've already had about 30 seconds. And when we come into yin, it's almost switching everything off and seeing if you can come into a meditative state. So not needing to breathe in a certain way, not needing to think about anything, just let gravity kind of take over here. As we soften down into the joints, it's this opportunity to let the body just kind of melt to the floor. We're about halfway through our time. If you need to move and adjust your pose, feel free to do so. Don't feel limited. At the same time, if you feel like you're fidgeting a lot, you can't find stillness, maybe just asking those few questions. Why? Are you stressed this week? Are you hungry? Are you grouchy or tired? And see if you can almost just step away from those kind of internal thoughts. They're valid, they're there for a reason, but they're not serving you right now. Right now, we're just trying to release our hips and our lower back in a frog pose. Give your body, give your mind some space. Three long deep breaths and prepare yourself to move. Now coming out of frog pose, you're just going to simply start to walk your hands back, moving any props over to one side. I like to bring my feet a little bit closer and then really gently ease the knees together. And know that because it's such a big posture, it might take a little while. Once you've navigated your way out of that space, my lovelies, let's come to the back, keeping your pillow or bolster or block quite close. Ooh, we're just going to take a big stretch into the hips, finding our Setu Bandasana. So just kind of elongating into the front of the body once again. Plant down the feet, toes facing the same direction, knees in line with the hips, and hands either side of your pelvis. Big breath in. Exhale is going to press the fingers and toes to the earth, ripple up through the spine, and elevate the chest to the chin. So our bridge pose, Setu Bandasana. Notice if your knees knock inwards or knock outwards. Can we keep them parallel? Imagine you've got a watermelon in between your thighs, so there's a slight activation, but not a collapse. And then just double check that your butt cheeks are switched on. They should be rock hard. And then lift up 1 inch higher. Good, let's roll down upper, middle, lower back body. Nice and gently. And you can take a couple different options. You might stay still. You could hug your knees in towards you, hands to the back of the thighs, giving a little massage from side to side. Or you're going to windscreen wiper your knees like we did at the start. Just gently rocking them from side to side. Let's go for one more bridge pose before we come to close. Good, as you're ready, soles of the feet find the floor. And this time let's see if we can squeeze the heels a little bit closer towards your bottoms. You might even be able to tickle the back of your feet. If you can't, don't worry about it, you might just have shorter arms. I've got very octopus gangly arms, so it makes it quite easy. When you're ready, inhale breath. And the exhale, press the floor away, ripple up the spine. Lifting chest to chin, belly button to sky, and hip bones all the way upwards as well. If this feels okay, you can stay here. If you want a little bit more, interlacing fingers underneath your bum, drawing your shoulders in one by one, and elevating the stretch into the front of the chest a little bit more as well. Something to be mindful of is if the elbows are lifting off of the floor. Can we press the elbows and the forearms down to the floor? So we're not taking that stretch into the joints. We've got kind of an activation through the arms as well. Final big belly breath. And release the hands. Come off the shoulders, roll down, upper, middle, lower back body. Woo. Good, and take your variations. Hug the knees in, windscreen wiper the knees, or maybe just breathe in stillness. Alright my darlings, we're going to start to set up for relaxation. So you've got plenty of options. if you have a bolster or your pillows close by, you could slide those underneath, not very graceful, underneath the knees. And what that's going to do is neutralize your lower lumbar spine and then take some pressure out of the lower back. It's quite a nice option if you've been stood up all day. It's quite a nice way to just kind of softly release those joints. If you're feeling a little bit cold, you could bring your bolster or your cushions on top of your belly. It's going to keep you a little bit warmer. And it's also quite a nice way to help you feel grounded. Like if you've had a day where you've been super stressed and I don't know, you've been running around and you've been a little bit out of your body, this will help you to tune into your body to really make you, it's like a big cuddle. Feels quite good. If you want a little bit more of a heart opener, you're going to slide your bolster behind your bottom, or your cushions, should say that. You can use like 2 or 3 kind of pillowy cushions behind your bottom. Take the hands either onto that thing or either side and really slowly ripple your way down. This is going to be a big releasing action for the front of the chest. So if you have a little bit of rounding, a little bit of kyphosis in the spine, it might feel good. If you've been slumped over a desk all day, it might feel nice to have this really big release into the shoulders. And again, with the hands, anywhere you are, you can take the back of the hands to the ground, maybe the hands to the belly. If you're on your bolster with your heart opener, if you want to include the hips, bring the soles of the feet together and allow the knees to cascade open. You can always take blocks underneath the thighs as well for a little bit of extra support. If you have none of these things, feel free to take it traditionally laying on your back or even laying on your side and get all of your jumpers and socks and, I don't know, blankets, duvets, get it all involved. And then, my darlings, just for these next few moments, I want you to really descend. This whole practice has been to calm down, to chill out, and to just take some you time. And that is never more necessary than when we come into relaxation or shavasana. And it's definitely a skill that gets built up over time. But just allow yourself to float away here, just to drift off. If you notice your mind is kind of making lists or to-do lists, or you're checking things off, see if you can step away from that and come back to the physical you here and now. So maybe that's tuning back into the breath. Maybe it's taking a body scan, starting from the toes, coming up all the way to the crown of the head. But taking this opportunity to just lay in stillness and treat your body to a little bit of active relaxation. slowly start to bring some attention back into your body, deepening your breath, deepening your inhale, and letting go of the exhale. When the time feels right, movement to fingers and to feet, to hands and to the ankles and your knees and elbows. And I like to take a full body yawny stretch. Now, depending on what props you have around you is going to depend on how you come to your seat. So if there's a bolster under your knees or on your belly, you're just going to move them over to one side. If you've got your bolster or your pillows underneath you, just take your hands to the back of the head, slowly curl the chin to center, like a mini sit-up, coming to rise, or you can always roll over to one side. Taking our Sukhasana, our easy pose at the end of practice, just hands lightly to the knees, bowing the chin to the chest. Keep the hands as they are, bring the palms to touch at heart center, or one hand on top of the other on the chest. A moment of gratitude for the time and devotion that you spent for yourself today. Taking that time away to just breathe and to move and to open and release. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Lovely yogis, have a wonderful rest of your day, whatever you're up to. Jai. See you later.